This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Nothing but blue skies from now on.
Hey, and welcome back to Boomer Life. We're talking about Element Lifestyle Retirement, and Opal by Element is a development that's going to be opening in the spring of 2019 at King Edward and Cambie. And this is lifestyle retirement, living in place and retiring in place and moving through the stages of your life in one area, along with family and lots of friends. And we have with us Candy Ho and Veronica da Conceição. And how do you say it in Portuguese?
Veronica da Conceição.
Okay, I'll try that later maybe.
Okay.
And we wanted to talk about a story that was published in The Sun and the Province about Douglas Guest. He was here on this show several months ago, and a great sort of speaker and advocate for what you're doing at Opal by Element. And I think it really, of all the shows, I think his was the one that really spoke to me about his father passing away and worrying about his mom and downsizing and moving, all the things we talked about in the last segment. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about, so we had Douglas here, but in the article, you also had his mom talking as well. So kind of, then they've become sort of ambassadors and advocates for what you're trying to accomplish here. So give us a little bit about what she had to say.
Well, she really opened up her heart about the experience through, I think, almost 15 years of her husband was 15 years older than her. And it all began with a stroke, and then he recovered from it, went home, and then had another stroke. And then they kind of thought, well, you know, we have the ability to care for him at home. We're a close, warm, loving family. We have a large enough home. And they also are actually privileged enough to be of means to hire their own care and all of that. So they wanted to all be involved in and proactively being the care providers.
And I think he wanted to also build a laneway home. There was all kinds of hurdles to get over, and one of the sticking points was this tree.
Yes, exactly. This tree, and the city requested for them to design the laneway so that it would have some sort of lifted or cantilevered foundation, which is truly an engineering feat and expensive and kind of just way too much effort. And through that process, it just took so long and so much effort that by the time, not even by the time, the city actually approved it 2 months ago, but the father had passed away by then. So anyway, through all those years, of course, the family was providing for the dad. They hired care staff at home, and it continued to evolve and evolve, where it just became a healthcare management nightmare for them, where Douglas actually gave up his work to care for his father and become the operator of the care staff. And he's the
sandwich generation, so he has young children.
He's my age. He's 37, and he's got 2 kids, and they were living together with mom and dad, and he has siblings, and they don't live in town. And then his wife's family lives in town. So together they were all kind of caring for each other, but it was still very tiring, and there was a little bit of as great as their family is, it was difficult for Douglas in that the siblings weren't here to see how much sacrifice he was making and how tiring it really was, and that he wanted to be an amazing husband and amazing father as well, but the caring for the father did take a lot of his energy and time. So for his mom now, I see her and I'm so touched. She's actually really, like, there's hope in her eyes, there's light in her eyes, that she's bought into Opal, and she's so excited about getting into the programs and sharing her talents. She's a great designer. She was actually on the National Institute of Interior Design. She's an artist, and there's all these great things that she hopes to bring to life at Opal, and that's where we're different. Like, we like to engage our residents and bring out their talents and their passions to share with each other. So for her, it was they started looking, I guess, towards the when the father was really not doing well. They had already been kind of looking around and keeping their eyes open for options for probably more than 2 years already. And then they finally saw Opal, and it's like a few blocks away from their home. But what really was easy for them when they came in to see is like, wow, this is so not at all an old folks home or even a retirement home where people are of a certain age. So for their family, it was important that all the grandchildren could be there and feel welcome and play in the way that they want. So they looked at the kitchen. Oh my gosh, even this in-suite kitchen is a place where I can engage with them, and my granddaughter can sit there while I'm cooking, and she can be doing her art on our little kitchen counter or bar. And then she found the townhome unit, which is 11-foot ceiling, nice and lofty and bright light and south-facing with a garden patio. She has a poodle, a beautiful poodle, and she's like, wow, I can really do this so easily, like just walk right out the door and we can have our great walks. I can be so independent and yet be part of this community where she's surrounded by people of similar values.
And the aging in place is a big part of it. So when
for her knowing that there's the care that
her husband's 15 years older, so we start to transpose that and say 15 years from now, her health might deteriorate. There's people there and there's services there to help.
Well, exactly. So she's being proactive. She's so healthy. If you meet her, she's definitely, like, I can see her climbing or hiking. I don't know about grouse grind. I haven't asked her about that, but I can totally see her hiking.
Big hiker,
and she's very, very healthy and active. But it is for her about being part of a community where she has friends all the time and not feel like, oh, Douglas has got to rush home to keep her company. They're the sweetest mom and son, and I know he'll be there all the time. But in the day, she won't feel bored. She won't have to actively go and look for things to do. Because it's all right there. Yeah.
And how did they find Opal? Do you ever recall how they found out about what you're doing?
I think it was actually a newspaper article, and of course the signage that they live right in the area. Yeah.
Now, is that a common thing with the people that are signing up? I mean, they're not going to be moving in for a couple of years. So do they live in that sort of Cambie, King Ed? So I guess that borders on Shaughnessy and Oak Ridge and Kerrisdale and places like that?
Mostly it's within 2 kilometers.
Really?
Actually, I have probably 5 or 6 families that are within 2 blocks even.
Really?
Yeah, like on King Edward, just around Ontario. And then Douglas's family is Oak and just off 25th.
Or a short drive, like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And is that a common thing?
But there are others from downtown as well.
Do you see that with retirement living, that people want to be retired in a facility that is near where they lived?
In their community.
They
definitely feel comfortable. And then that's the friendships over the years that they've built. So I think they like to stay within the community.
Familiarity, like all the shops and
convenience.
And they really liked that it's like right next to the Canada line, and so she can really be active and independent. It's near the QE Park, it's near Hillcrest Center, so they would be, envision the grandkids running around in QE Park and picnicking there. They would be able to go watch the baseball games and gymnastics. So
I think that's really important. Access to healthcare. Labs, doctors, dentists,
which we'll have from the whole Broadway.
Exactly. So
we'll have wellness
that's why they're
clinics
very interested in that aspect as well.
All right, so let's get back into sort of generally people dealing with family. Oh, that's what I did a follow up to that. Does a crowd attract a crowd? So as soon as the door opens and one family moves in, and then they come and visit, and they're like, "Honey, what are we doing we should live here too?" Is that typically what happens in
you just saw the other time that we had a family bring a whole group of his friends, right?
Yeah. He actually bought into Opal, and he decided, he was so proud of it, he decided, I'm going to show this off to my friends. So unannounced, of course, they went up to Kieran for lunch and just came down with a group of friends. He took over the tour. He literally showed, we have a models unit there, and he sat on the bed. They took pictures. I made some tea, so they had tea. They sat down on the couch, and they just had their own little conversation. Very proud of where he's going to be living in the future.
But sorry, Candy, go ahead.
I've also had grandkids be really proud and go run out and tell their friends too. I had a family where they brought the grandkids, and the sandwich generation and the elderly were all together, and the kids were feeling so comfortable and natural that they can just be light and happy. They're excited. They took their parents and their grandparents, all their clothes, all their handbags, and stuffed it in their closet in the display suite and sat there playing in the living room. It was just adorable.
But in your experience over the decades that you've been in the retirement living, do you find that once somebody from a neighborhood moves in, other people follow?
It's word of mouth too.
Yeah.
Right? So if they have the experience, they're going to say, do it now. Forget about the renovation. Just come and live, retirement community, feeling purpose, right?
I have a question. So when you move into a retirement facility and you want to go away, maybe you want to go away for your snowbird. You go for 3 months to Arizona or Palm Springs or Florida or something. Like, how does that work? Is it you're just keeping your unit?
Right. We've had that. So it's paying rent, right? Like rent doesn't go away.
Or the service agreement.
Right.
But I've offered that they can let their friends or their family go and enjoy the amenities since they're like, it includes meals, right? Yeah. So the credit or what is included is their package. They can have their friends or family use it because especially the ones that are already there regularly, right?
Yes, our grandchildren coming in to do that. So it's not like they're losing anything, but they feel good about going out, but or leaving on a vacation and coming back. And like you just walk into the housekeeping continues, but if they choose not to, then that's their choice too. But well, for the most part, they like to come home to a clean apartment and just live life again and enjoy.
Well, and to walk out and not worry about burglars and things.
That's right.
Well, the one thing, I mean, we had this long, soggy spring, and then we finally had a nice break in the weather, and I finally got out to cut the grass, seed the grass, put soil on the grass, put some shrubs in, replace some boards on the deck, strip the deck, stain the deck, move the patio furniture out. Like, I'm tired. I'm Mr. Advil, right? My back is sore. Like, I'm doing all of this lifting and heaving and picking up and going to Home Depot and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure people that move in to a place like Opal by Element, they just go, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore.
Right.
I don't have to look after the garden. I don't have to shovel the walk. I don't have to do any of that
Well,
stuff.
there's a lot of them that love the gardening too.
Yes.
So that's something different about Opal that we have almost every single unit. Actually, they all do. They all have patio of different sizes. Some of them are big, and so those are the ones that are... Actually, they have the large families and they want barbecue and so on the large patios.
Nice patio chairs.
But there are others that want to do their gardening and have the herb planters, but don't want to maintain, like, clean the patio and wash away the moss.
It's a lot of work. Ask me how I know.
So that's when and then there are some that don't want to do that and say, well, I don't want to pay for the strata fees on the patio. I'm like, actually, you don't need to pay for the patio. The strata fees you don't have to pay for that. It's not. But if you wanted somebody to help you clean the patio, we have those maintenance people that you could, it's just like, a spring cleaning or something. It's just a one time. You're not paying for it if you don't want it, and you don't have to take care of it if you don't want to either.
Well, that's what people say to me. They say, Zach, you're Scottish, you should get somebody in to do all that stuff. It's like, it's exercise.
More Advil.
All right, we're going to take a quick break and continue our conversation talking about Opal by Element at the corner of King Edward and Cambie. You might drive by it and have a look, and you see the fences there and the happy people on the fence. The pictures. I thought they put candy on there. She's always smiling.
It would be great.
We'll do that next on CL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.